The Navy's new guided missile frigate has America's enemies on edge. The Navy expects that new weapons and sensors will better enable the ship to destroy swarming small boat attacks. Support carrier strike groups, conduct disaggregated operations. Attack enemies with an over-the-horizon missile and engage in advanced surface and anti-submarine warfare. The Navy envisions a new multi-mission guided missile frigate able to sense enemy targets from great distances. Fire next-generation precision weaponry, utilize new networking and ISR technologies. Operate unmanned systems and succeed against technically advanced enemies. In open or blue water combat, according to service statements. Over the last several years, the service has been refining and analyzing design, sensor and weapons concepts for the new ship, called the FFG-X. The Navy hopes to expedite development to and ultimately deploy the new ship in the early to mid-2020s. Service developers seem to be heavily emphasizing sensor networking, weapons integration and targeting technology as it navigates this next phase of development. The Navy expects that new weapons and sensors will better enable the ship to destroy swarming small boat attacks, support carrier strike groups, conduct disaggregated operations, attack enemies with an over-the-horizon missile and engage in advanced surface and anti-submarine warfare, service statements specify. The FFG-X small surface combatant will expand Blue Force sensor and weapon influence to provide increased information to the overall fleet tactical picture, while challenging adversary intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and tracking ISR&T efforts, Naval Sea Systems Command FFG-X document said. The Blue Force sensor language is explained by Navy developers as integral. The Navy's distributed maritime operations concept which as evidenced by its name, seeks to enable a more dispersed and networked attack fleet suited for disaggregated operations as needed. Also, by extension, longer-range sensors will be needed to identify enemy attackers. Now equipped with long-range precision strike weapons and enable command and control across vast distances of open water and coastal patrol areas. The Navy vision for the ship further specifies this, saying that FFG-X will be capable of establishing a local sensor network using passive onboard sensors, embarked aircraft and elevated, tethered systems and unmanned vehicles to gather information, and then act as a gateway to the fleet tactical grid using resilient communications systems and networks. With networked weapons in mind, the Navy has expressed a need for a netted sensor technology called Cooperative Engagement Capability (CEC). CEC is an integral aspect of key emerging ship defense technologies aimed at netting sensors and radar technologies, in order to better identify and destroy approaching threats such as anti-ship missiles, drones and enemy aircraft. CEC is a sensor netting system that significantly improves battle force anti-air warfare capability by extracting and distributing sensor-derived information such that the superset of this data is available to all participating CEC units. A Raytheon statement: current analysis is no longer restricted to the idea of loosely basing the hull design upon the LCS, as was previously the case, Navy officials say. Designs for the ship no longer merely envision a more survivable variant of an LCS. previous FFG-X requirements analyses conducted by a Navy frigate requirements evaluation team examined the feasibility of making the ship even more lethal and survivable than what previous plans had called for, Navy officials said. Existing plans for the frigate have considered space armor configurations, a method of segmenting and strengthening ship armor in specified segments to enable the ship to continue operations in the event that one area is damaged by enemy attack. Discussions for frigate technologies have included plans for an MH-60R helicopter, fire scout drone and ship defense technologies such as CRAM. The Navy already plans for the new frigate to be integrated with anti-submarine surface warfare technologies including sonar, and over-the-horizon missile and surface-to-surface weapons, which could include a 30mm gun and closer-in missiles such as the Hellfire. Navy plans for the FFG-X also call for advanced electronic warfare tech along with both variable depth and lightweight sonar systems. The new ship may also have 7 11-meter rigid inflatable boats for short combat or expeditionary missions such as visiting, searching and boarding other ships. In addition, Navy developers explained ship will be configured in what's called a modular fashion, meaning it will be engineered to accept and integrate new technologies and weapons as they emerge. It certainly seems realistic that a new, even more survivable frigate might be engineered with an additional capacity for onboard electrical power such that it can accommodate stronger laser weapons as they become available. The Navy's distributed maritime operations concept builds upon the Navy's much-discussed distributed lethality strategy. This strategic approach, in development for several years now, emphasizes the need to more fully arm the fleet with offensive and defensive weapons and disperse forces as needed to respond to fast-emerging near-peer threats. Part of the rationale is to move back toward open or blue water combat capability against near-peer competitors emphasized during the Cold War. While the strategic and tactical capability never disappeared, it was emphasized less during the last 10-plus years of ground wars wherein the Navy focused on counter-terrorism, counter-piracy and things like visit-board search and seizure. These missions are, of course, still important, however the Navy seeks to substantially increase its offensive lethality in order to deter or be effective against emerging high-tech adversaries.